Mr. Patterson, do you mind if we talk in private for just a moment? The bank teller's voice was calm, but something in her eyes made me pause. I'd been standing at the counter for maybe 2 minutes, check in hand, ready to wire $75,000 to what my son Marcus called an investment opportunity that couldn't wait. The kind of opportunity that required immediate action, he'd said. The kind that would secure both our futures. Is there a problem with the transfer? I asked, glancing at the paperwork Marcus had prepared for me that morning. No problem at all, sir. I need to verify a few details. Standard procedure for larger amounts. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. There's a private office just through that door. It'll only take a minute. I should have felt annoyed. I'm 68 years old, a retired aerospace engineer who managed multi-million-dollar projects for 30 years. I know how to handle my own finances. But something about the way she'd said private made me follow her. The office was small, just a desk and 2 chairs. She closed the door and suddenly her professional composure cracked slightly. Mr. Patterson, when was the last time you personally reviewed your complete bank statements? The question caught me off guard. My son helps me with that. Marcus handles most of my paperwork since my wife passed. Why? She pulled out a folder. Sir, I'm not supposed to do this. I could lose my job for what I'm about to show you. But I've been a teller here for 12 years, and I've seen this pattern before. She slid papers across the desk. These are your account statements for the past 8 months. I looked down at the numbers, confused at first. Then I saw them. Transfers. Dozens of them. 5,000 here, 3,500 there, 8,000. All made to accounts I didn't recognize. All authorized by my power of attorney. All signed by Marcus. That's not possible, I heard myself say. Marcus wouldn't. Mr. Patterson, in the last 8 months, approximately $247,000 has been transferred out of your accounts. This $75,000 would bring it over $300,000. She leaned forward. Sir, I need to ask you directly. Are you aware of these transactions? The room felt like it was tilting. No, I'm not. Then I strongly suggest you don't make this transfer today. And sir? She pulled out a business card. This is the number for Adult Protective Services. I think you need to call them. I sat in that office for 20 minutes, staring at those statements. $247,000. Gone. And I hadn't known, hadn't even suspected. How could I have been so blind? Let me back up. Let me tell you how I got here. To this moment where a stranger showed me more loyalty than my own son. My wife Catherine died 2 years ago, pancreatic cancer, 6 weeks from diagnosis to funeral. We'd been married 43 years. When she died, something in me died too. The house we'd shared, the one we'd raised Marcus in, suddenly felt enormous and empty. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and forget she was gone, reach across the bed for her. Marcus seemed to understand. He'd always been close to his mother, and her death hit him hard too, or so I thought. He started coming by more often. At first, just for dinner once a week, then twice. Then he suggested he move into the guest house out back, just for a while, to keep me company. Dad, you shouldn't be alone right now, he'd said. Let me help. Let me be here for you. I was grateful. Marcus was 42, divorced 5 years back, no kids. He worked in tech sales, made decent money, seemed to have his life together. Having him around felt like having family again, having purpose. Your mom always handled the bills, I'd told him one night over dinner. 3 months after the funeral, I'm drowning in paperwork. Insurance, the mortgage, investment statements. I don't know where to start. Let me take care of it, Marcus had offered immediately. Dad, you taught me how to be responsible with money. Let me return the favor. You focus on healing. I'll handle the finances. It seemed like such a gift at the time, such a kindness. I signed the power of attorney papers he brought me the next week. Just a formality, he said, just so he could handle things when I didn't feel up to it. He had it all prepared, explained that his friend who was a lawyer had drawn it up. I barely read it. Why would I? This was my son. That was 8 months ago. For 8 months, Marcus had free access to every account, every investment. every penny Catherine and I had saved across 40 years of marriage and careful planning. My Boeing pension, the life insurance payout, our retirement savings, and he'd been draining it, slowly and systematically, while I sat in my empty house, missing my wife. I left the bank without making the transfer. The teller, her name was Jennifer Chen, had made me promise to call Adult Protective Services immediately. She'd also given me the name of an attorney who specialized in elder financial abuse. Elder abuse? I'd said, almost angry. I'm not some confused old man being scammed by strangers. No, sir, she'd replied gently. You're a man being betrayed by someone you trusted. That's worse, and it's more common than you think. I drove home in a daze. When I pulled into my driveway, I saw Marcus's Tesla parked near the guest house. The guest house I owned, on the property I owned, or thought I owned. I sat in my car and called the attorney Jennifer had recommended. Sarah Goldstein answered on the second ring. I told her everything. When I finished, there was a long pause. Mr. Patterson, I need you to listen carefully. Don't confront your son. Not yet. Don't let him know you've discovered anything. Can you do that? I don't know. He's inside right now. He's probably wondering where I am. Tell him the bank needed additional documentation for the transfer. Tell him it'll be processed tomorrow. Can you act normal for 24 hours? What are you going to do? I'm going to file an emergency petition with the court tomorrow morning to freeze your accounts and revoke that power of attorney. But I need time to prepare the paperwork, and I need you to not tip him off. If he suspects, he could transfer everything out tonight. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. There's more money he could take? Your house, Mr. Patterson? With power of attorney, he could potentially deed your house to himself. Has he mentioned anything about updating your will, putting the house in a trust? He had, just last week, said it would save on estate taxes. Oh, God, I breathed. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., my office. Bring any documents you have. In the meantime, act like nothing has changed. Can you do that? I said yes, but I honestly didn't know if I could. I walked into my house, and Marcus was in the kitchen making coffee. Hey, Dad, how'd it go? He asked, not even looking up from his phone. They needed some additional verification, I heard myself say. My voice sounded normal. How was that possible? Said they'd process it tomorrow. Annoying, Marcus muttered. But whatever. This deal won't wait long, though. My contact said, if we don't move by Friday, he's going with other investors. His contact, his deal, my money. Marcus, I said, and he finally looked up at me. This investment, tell me more about it. What exactly am I investing in? For just a second, something flickered across his face. Irritation? Guilt? But then he smiled. That easy smile that had always made him look like Catherine. It's a tech startup, Dad. Cryptocurrency mining operation. The returns are insane. 12 to 15% monthly. I told you about it. And this is legitimate? Dad, would I put your money into something shady? Come on, you know me. I thought I did. I really thought I did. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. At some point, around 2 a.m., I heard Marcus's door open, heard him walk through the house. I got up quietly, stood in my darkened bedroom doorway. He was in my study, at my desk, going through my files. I watched my son search through my personal documents, photographing pages with his phone. When he pulled out the folder containing my updated will, the one Catherine and I had revised just before she got sick, my chest tightened so hard I thought I was having a heart attack. He studied it for a long time. Then he put it back, but not quite where it had been. He'd be able to tell if I'd noticed. After he went back to the guest house, I sat in my study for an hour. That will left everything to Marcus. Catherine and I had been so clear about it. We had one child, one heir. Why would we leave it to anyone else? We'd never imagined we'd need to. At 8:50 a.m., I was sitting in Sarah Goldstein's office. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe 45, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Before we start, she said, I need to tell you something. This is going to be ugly. Even if we win, even if we recover your money, Your relationship with your son will never be the same. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Marcus at 2 a.m., photographing my will. He already destroyed our relationship. I just didn't know it. She nodded and opened her briefcase. Let's begin. The next 4 hours were a blur of paperwork. Sarah explained that she was filing for an emergency temporary restraining order to freeze all my accounts and revoke Marcus's power of attorney. She was also filing a report with Adult Protective Services and the district attorney's office. This is criminal, Mr. Patterson. What he's done is elder financial abuse, possibly fraud, possibly forgery, if any signatures were faked. The DA will investigate, but that takes time. Our job is to freeze everything now and get your money back. What do I tell Marcus? Nothing yet. The court will serve him with the restraining order this afternoon. Be somewhere else when that happens. Do you have somewhere you can go? I nodded. My old friend Tom, from my Boeing days. He'd been asking me to visit for months. Good. Pack a bag. Tell Marcus you're going to visit a friend for a few days. Don't tell him which friend. And Mr. Patterson? She looked at me seriously. Change your locks while you're gone. We're including in the petition that he must vacate your property immediately. Vacate. My son, from my property. I drove home, packed a bag, and found Marcus in the kitchen again. Always in my kitchen, eating my food, drinking my coffee, stealing my life. I'm going to visit Tom for a few days, I told him. Up in Seattle. Haven't seen him since the funeral. Marcus barely looked up from his laptop. Cool. You taking the transfer papers with you? We really need to get that done. I'll handle it when I get back. Dad, I told you, this deal has a deadline. Friday. Then I guess it'll have to wait. Something in my voice made him finally look at me. Really look. You okay, Dad? Just tired. Need a change of scenery. I left before he could ask anything else. I was at Tom's house in Seattle when Sarah called that evening. He's been served. The accounts are frozen. Mr. Patterson, there's something else. When the sheriff went to serve him, Marcus tried to access your accounts on his phone. Tried to make a wire transfer right then and there. The sheriff witnessed it. That helps our case significantly. What did Marcus say? According to the sheriff's report, he became verbally aggressive, claimed you were senile and being manipulated, said he was protecting you from yourself. Senile. Manipulated. I'd designed guidance systems for commercial aircraft. I had 3 patents to my name. I'd been sharp as a tack until grief made me vulnerable. Sarah, I want to know exactly how much he took. There was a pause. Mr. Patterson, my investigator has been going through your records. Are you sitting down? I was. Tell me, in addition to the $247,000 the bank caught, there were other accounts. Your IRA, your investment portfolio, some savings bonds. The preliminary estimate is around $430,000 total. $430,000. 40 years of work. Catherine's life insurance. Our retirement. Gone. Where did it go? Gambling debts. Mostly. Your son has a severe gambling problem, Mr. Patterson. He owes money to several offshore betting sites. He's also been living well beyond his means. The Tesla, expensive restaurants, a vacation to Monaco last month. Monaco, I repeated numbly. There's more. He's been telling people, including his creditors, that he's about to inherit your house. He's been using it as collateral for personal loans. We've found at least 3 private lenders who have documents Marcus signed promising them a share of the estate. But I'm not dead. No. Which is why I think Jennifer Chen at the bank may have saved your life, not just your finances. The words hung in the air between us. You think he would have? I think when someone is desperate enough, drowning in debt, and sees an elderly parent with substantial assets as their only way out, things can escalate. I've seen it before. The plan might have been to wait for natural causes, but given how aggressively he was moving on the finances, I think he was getting impatient. I felt sick. Mr. Patterson, the DA wants to interview you. Are you up for that? I was. The interview happened 2 days later, after I'd flown back to Portland. Detective James Morrison was in his 50s, kind eyes, patient voice. He recorded everything. Walk me through how your son obtained power of attorney, he said. I explained. The grief, the paperwork, Marcus's friend, the lawyer. Do you remember the lawyer's name? I didn't. Marcus handled it. Morrison made a note. We're going to need to verify that lawyer exists and is actually licensed. In cases like these, sometimes the POA documents are fabricated or notarized fraudulently. You mean it might not even be legal? It's possible. We'll find out. He leaned forward. Mr. Patterson, I need to ask you something difficult. In the past year, has your son ever suggested that you might be experiencing memory problems? Confusion? Has he ever discussed having you evaluated by a doctor for dementia? My blood ran cold. About 6 months ago, he said I'd been repeating myself, forgetting conversations. He wanted me to see a neurologist, said he was worried. Did you go? No, I didn't think I was forgetting things. I thought he was mistaken. Morrison nodded slowly. He was setting groundwork. If he could get you diagnosed with dementia, the power of attorney would be virtually unchallengeable. He could make any financial decision and claim it was for your care. But I don't have dementia. I know. But he was trying to create that narrative. Morrison closed his notebook. Mr. Patterson, I'm going to recommend the DA file criminal charges. Financial exploitation of an elderly person. Forgery if the POA is fake. Possibly attempted fraud. This is a slam dunk case. What happens to Marcus? If convicted, 5 to 10 years. Maybe more, depending on what else we find. My son, in prison, for a decade. Detective, what if? What if we could get the money back without pressing charges? What if there was a way to... Mr. Patterson, Morrison interrupted gently. He stole almost $500,000 from you. He was positioning himself to take your house. He was building a case to have you declared incompetent. This wasn't a mistake. This was calculated. Prolonged exploitation of your grief and trust. And sir, if we don't prosecute, he'll do this again. Maybe not to you, but to someone. He was right. I knew he was right. But that didn't make it hurt any less. The preliminary hearing was 3 weeks later. I sat in the courtroom and watched Marcus walk in with his public defender. He wouldn't look at me. The evidence was overwhelming. Sarah's investigator had found everything. The fake lawyer, a friend of Marcus from college, who'd been disbarred 3 years ago. The forged signatures on some of the transfer documents. The offshore gambling accounts showing losses of over $600,000 in the past 2 years. The private loans he'd taken out using my house as promised collateral. The judge revoked his bail when the prosecution demonstrated he was a flight risk. Your Honor, Marcus's attorney had argued, my client has no passport and no means to flee. Your client has stolen nearly $500,000, the judge replied coldly. He has means. Bail revoked. Trial date set for 8 weeks from today. As they led Marcus out in handcuffs, he finally looked at me. The expression on his face wasn't shame or remorse. It was rage. Pure, undiluted rage, like I'd done something wrong, like I'd betrayed him. That night, Tom drove down from Seattle to stay with me. He found me sitting in my study, looking at a photo of Marcus's high school graduation. Catherine was in the picture, beaming with pride. Marcus had his arm around her. I loved him so much, I said. We both did. I know. Where did I go wrong? What did I do that made him capable of this? Tom sat down across from me. Bill, you didn't make him do anything. You and Catherine were good parents. You gave him every opportunity. This isn't about you. This is about choices he made. Choices he kept making. Every day, for 8 months. He's going to prison. Yes, he's my son. I know, Bill. I know. The trial took 4 days. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Marcus received 7 years. With good behavior, he'd be out in 5. The judge ordered restitution, but Sarah was pessimistic. He has no assets, Mr. Patterson. The money went to gambling sites and loan sharks. We might recover $50,000 if we're lucky. The rest is gone. Gone. 40 years of saving. Catherine's memory. Our future. Gone. But I still had the house. I still had my pension. I could rebuild, Sarah said. I was only 68. I had time. That should have been the end of the story. Justice served. Bad son punished. Victim vindicated. But it's not that simple. 3 months after sentencing, I got a letter from Marcus. The prison had forwarded it. It was short. Dad, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it, but I need you to know something. I didn't start out wanting to steal from you. I was going to pay it back. That first 5,000, that was just to cover the gambling debt, so they'd stop threatening me. I was going to return it after my next commission check. But then I needed more, and then more. And it was so easy. You trusted me so completely. You never even checked the statements. By the time I realized I was in too deep, I couldn't stop. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't face what I'd become. The lies got bigger and the hole got deeper, and I just kept digging. I'm not making excuses. I did this. All of it. But I need you to know it started from desperation, not malice. I never wanted to hurt you. I just didn't know how to stop. I read that letter 20 times. It didn't make what he did okay. It didn't erase the betrayal or the theft or the fact that he'd been willing to have me declared incompetent to cover his tracks. But it was the first time he'd been honest with me in years. I thought about it for 2 weeks. Then I did something Sarah advised against. I went to visit him. Marcus looked terrible. Prison orange, hollow eyes, 30 pounds lighter. We sat across from each other with a plastic barrier between us. Phones in our hands. You came, he said. His voice cracked. I came. Why? Good question. Because you're still my son. I'm still your father. And I need to understand. We talked for 45 minutes. He told me about the gambling, how it started as just a fun distraction after his divorce, how it escalated, the debts, the threats, the desperation. When Mom died and you were so lost, I saw an opportunity, he admitted. God, that sounds terrible. But you have to understand, they were threatening to kill me. These weren't just credit card companies. These were serious people. I was terrified. So you stole from your grieving father. Yes. He looked at me directly for the first time. I did. And I convinced myself I was helping us both. That I'd win it back, and you'd never know, and everyone would be fine. That's what addicts do, Dad. We lie to everyone, especially ourselves. You were going to take my house. I know. You tried to have me declared incompetent. I know, Marcus. You weren't trying to pay off debts by that point. You were trying to destroy me. His face crumpled. I know. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. I was in survival mode, and you were just an obstacle, and I forgot you were my father. I forgot you were a person. All I could see was money I needed, and you were in my way. I sat there, looking at my son cry through a prison phone, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even pity. Just emptiness. I've spent 3 months wondering what I did wrong, I said. What kind of father raises a son who could do this? Catherine would be heartbroken. Don't, he whispered. Please don't bring Mom into this. She's already in it. That life insurance money you stole, that was her final gift to us, to me, so I'd be secure after she was gone. You took that and gambled it away. He was sobbing now. I know. Dad, I'm so sorry. I know you are. But sorry doesn't give me back 40 years of savings. Sorry doesn't return the money Mom worked so hard for. Sorry doesn't undo 8 months of betrayal. Then why did you come? To make me feel worse? I came because a very wise bank teller told me something. She said that seeing the pattern is what matters. Understanding how it happens, how people rationalize, how they justify. She said if I understood, maybe I could protect myself from ever being this blind again. So this is a lesson for you? No, Marcus. It's a goodbye. His face went white. Dad, I'm not pressing for maximum restitution. My lawyer says we could go after your future earnings, garnish your wages when you get out. I'm not going to do that. You'll serve your time, and when you're released, you'll have a chance to rebuild your life. But not with me in it. Dad, please, I'm changing my will. Everything goes to charity when I die. You'll inherit nothing. Not because I'm punishing you, but because I don't trust you. I'll never trust you again. I'm your son. Yes, and that's the tragedy. Because I loved you more than anything in this world. But love isn't enough when trust is gone. And Marcus, the trust is gone. You killed it. Slowly, Systematically, over 8 months. You killed every bit of trust I had in you. He was shaking. Don't do this, please. I need to know that someday, maybe years from now, we could. No. I stood up. I'm 68 years old. I don't have years to wait for, maybe. I have whatever time I have left, and I'm going to spend it with people who actually care about me. People who didn't see my grief as an opportunity. I love you, Dad. Those words, they'd meant so much to me my whole life. Now they were just sounds. I know you do. In your own broken way, I believe you love me. But son, sometimes love just isn't enough. I hung up the phone and walked out. I haven't been back. 6 months after the trial, I took Jennifer Chen, the bank teller who saved my life, out to dinner. Fancy place, my treat. You didn't have to do this, she said, but she was smiling. Yes, I did. You saw something wrong, and you did something about it. You risked your job to help a stranger. You weren't a stranger, Mr. Patterson. You were a customer in trouble. That's my job. Your job is to process transactions. What you did was way beyond that. She shrugged, but I could see she was pleased. I saw my grandmother go through something similar. Her nephew emptied her accounts. By the time anyone noticed, she'd lost everything. Had to sell her house, move into assisted living. She died 6 months later. I think from heartbreak, as much as anything. I swore if I ever saw that pattern again, I'd do something. I'm sorry about your grandmother. Me too. She paused. Can I ask you something? How are you doing? Really? I thought about it. I'm okay. Some days are harder than others. I still wake up sometimes and forget for a moment that both Catherine and Marcus are gone. Different kinds of gone, but gone. Then I remember and it hurts. Of course it does. But I'm okay. I'm rebuilding. I've reconnected with old friends. Tom from Seattle visits every month. I joined a woodworking group. Started volunteering at a literacy program. Life goes on. What about the money? Did you recover any of it? About 70,000. More than Sarah thought we would, less than we lost. But I still have my pension and the house. I'll be fine. Jennifer smiled. You're stronger than you think. I didn't feel strong when I was sitting in your office, finding out my son had robbed me blind. But you did something about it. A lot of people, they're so ashamed or so hurt that they just let it go. They don't fight back. You fought back. I had help. You, Sarah, Detective Morrison, Tom. I couldn't have done it alone. Nobody does anything alone, Mr. Patterson. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. We finished dinner, and as I drove home, I thought about what she'd said. Nobody does anything alone. Catherine and I had Marcus alone, raised him alone. Maybe that was part of the problem. Too insular, too focused on just our little family unit. When Catherine died, I was alone, and Marcus exploited that isolation. I'm not alone anymore. I have friends now, real friends. People who check in on me, not to see what they can take, but because they genuinely care. Tom, Jennifer, even Sarah, who I still have coffee with once a month. I have my woodworking group, where I'm teaching younger guys the craft. I have the literacy program, where I help immigrants learn to read English. I have a life that's full again, different from before, smaller in some ways. But mine, last week, I got another letter from Marcus. They keep coming, every few weeks. I don't read them anymore. I have them forwarded to Sarah, just in case there's anything legally relevant. But I don't read them. Sarah says he's up for parole in 2 more years. She asked if I planned to attend the hearing. I said no. She asked if I wanted her to prepare a victim impact statement opposing parole. I said no to that too. Let him out early if he's earned it, I told her. Let him rebuild his life. I just don't want to be part of it. You're entitled to be angry, Bill. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. There's a difference, and there is. Anger requires energy, emotion, engagement. I don't have that for Marcus anymore. He's not my enemy. He's not anything to me. He's just a man who used to be my son, who made choices that severed our connection permanently. I grieve that connection. I grieve the son I thought I had, but I don't grieve the man he actually is. Does that make me cold? Maybe. But it makes me sane. Tom asked me last month if I regretted prosecuting Marcus. He's doing 5 years, Bill. That's a long time. And he's your only child. What would you have done? Tom thought about it. Honestly, probably the same. But I'd hate myself for it. I don't hate myself. I hate that it was necessary. But Tom, if I'd let it go, what would that have taught him? That he could steal from people who love him and face no real consequences? That grief and family obligation are just tools to exploit? You're a better man than me. No, I'm just a man who drew a line. Finally. Tonight, I'm sitting in my study, the same study where I once watched my son photograph my will in the middle of the night. I've redecorated since then. New desk, new chair, fresh paint. It doesn't feel haunted anymore. I'm working on a wooden jewelry box for Jennifer's daughter's 16th birthday. Cherry wood, hand-cut dovetails, brass hinges. It's going to be beautiful. Catherine would have liked Jennifer. She would have appreciated someone who saw a problem and fixed it, who risked something to help a stranger. That was Catherine's way too. Always helping, always caring. Maybe that's where Marcus and I differ. He inherited Catherine's face, her charm, her easy smile. But he didn't inherit her heart. Or maybe he did, once, and he lost it somewhere along the way. Doesn't matter now. What matters is that I'm still here. Still building things, still contributing, still surrounded by people who actually give a damn. Marcus took a lot from me. My money, my trust, my relationship with my only child. But he didn't take everything. He didn't take my dignity. He didn't take my will to rebuild. He didn't take my capacity to recognize real kindness when strangers offered it. And he didn't take my future. That's still mine. All mine.